So,
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name. Okay, can you speak?
yes, sure.
Yeah, yeah. First, I
Good.
introduce myself and then you. Okay.
Great.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Shaida and I am facilitator at Rehan School India campus. As you know, we have started an interview series where we host a guest from every corner of the world. Similarly, today we have a guest with us from Argentina whose name is Maria Alicia, and we learn about from her life journey, her tradition, her culture, and education. I hope you are enjoying our episode, and we ask you to keep supporting us and stay with us patiently until the end. So, without further wasting time, let's welcome our guest. You're most welcome in our show, Empowering India, Miss Maria Alika. Let's introduce yourself and good afternoon, good evening, good morning.
Okay. It is good morning in Argentina, but good afternoon and good evening wherever you are. I'm María Alicia Maldonado, and I'm an educationist. I have taught for over almost 50 years already. At this moment, I'm retired from in service teaching, but I still um, teach workshops for in-service teachers. Um, all my life, I've taught at different levels, from elementary school, secondary school, tertiary level, and university. And in the last 25 years of my teaching career, I devoted myself to teaching teachers to be. I was a teacher trainer. Uh, my passion is teaching, and that is why I'm so much involved in doing so. Besides teaching and leading workshops, I made several presentations online, not only in Argentina but also in Chile, in the United Kingdom, Pakistan, um, in many other countries, and I've written books for teaching English to non-native English speakers. Yes, that is English as a second language. I did so in Argentina, where I'm author of 4 series of books, and I collaborated with other books whose authors are other colleagues. And I've also collaborated in China with a series which was very popular. It is now very popular in China, for Oxford University Press. Um, and I've also written material for sharing in my blog. I have a blog for teaching English as a second language. And I also collaborated with a publication for teaching in New Zealand. So I'm very
It's
active, as you can see.
amazing. Okay, it's amazing, Miss Maria. Miss Maria, can you share a bit about your journey in the field of education and what inspired you to become an ESL materials developer?
Well, in fact, my grandma was Scottish, so I spoke English from my very early childhood. I also always loved teaching, because I believe that teachers can really make a big change in the world, because education is key for developing countries and individuals' histories. I believe in social mobility through education. And that is why I have always been interested in sharing what I know. And besides, I think that while we teach, we also learn from our students. I have learned a lot from my students, and I think I'm very satisfied with the rewards teaching gave us, because we really feel that we can see in the short time the results of our efforts. Yes, we can help people realize how important education is, how important knowledge is for individual freedom, because we can choose from what we know. If not, we cannot choose anything.
Fantastic, Miss Maria. Miss Maria, what are the main challenges you faced when creating your ESL series for secondary schools?
Well, the challenges are many. The first challenge I had was trying to persuade publishing houses the really potential students have to generate their own knowledge. In all cases, I was asked to prepare material which was completely guided for students to answer the questions that were expected. That is, the keys had to be exact, and that was the only possibility. And my perspective is that if students discover new knowledge, that knowledge they discover is kept in their minds longer. It really remains in their long term memory. So, the presentation of my last book, because I followed different steps. In the first books, I accepted the rules and I prepared the books the publishing houses wanted. And in my last book, which is absolutely mine, I'm responsible for that, I prepared an introduction in which students had to read images and guess meanings, make the connections. Once they started um, using the language, because they were checking whether their guesses were right, they were using the language without thinking of grammar. Yes, and after they have started, I introduced the grammar patterns. That is, the grammar patterns were the consequence of the discussion in the introduction of the book. And that was a great challenge for me, because it took me years to persuade the publishing houses. Nevertheless, the book was really successful, and it is widely used in Argentina. I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much. And how do you incorporate the latest trends in the language teaching into your materials?
Um, in fact, well, I did it by planning each lesson at the beginning. I mean, I introduced the topics at the beginning of the lesson, as everybody does when writing books. The point is that my suggestion for teachers, because I wrote the teachers books as well, my suggestion was to negotiate the way in which students were going to move about the units together with students. For example, choosing a timeline for developing the the lessons, um, how they were going to be assessed, if individually, in groups, uh, etc., when to have um, formal tests, how to exchange feedback, whether it was teachers' feedback always. I don't think that is the best option, or whether they had the possibility of receiving feedback from their peers before facing the whole group, working in small groups collaboratively. Well, all the process includes the development of soft skills, because there we have empathy, respect, collaboration, um, um, ICT development, because they have to work with computers, and they have extra practice with computers. And the feedback is responsibility for the teachers, but I really believe that the feedback we give our students influences their motivation for learning. So that is a learning stage for teachers as well. How students react to the kind of motivation. And at the end of each unit, I prepared a sort of chart in which students have to self evaluate, considering not only what they have learned as regards grammar or linguistic content in general, but also how they have learned to collaborate, to listen to each other, how they have responded to their responsibilities, if they um, really answered the tasks on time, and if they participated in the group work in accordance to the demands. Uh, all that is if they asked for help when they needed some help, so that they could finish the tasks uh, successfully. All that is included in the chart. So um, I tried to put into on paper the ideas I have. And besides that, since I wrote the teacher's book, I gave a sort of guide for teachers to follow the organization of the units.
Okay, thank you so much. And what feedback have you received from teachers and students about your materials?
Um, in fact, I don't have the feedback from all the teachers, because the publishing house has not given me the statistics. But the people um, whom I met um, have received the material with enthusiasm, because they feel it is up to the level of the students. The series are meant from seventh year, that is the last year at elementary school, up to the fifth year, that is the last year at secondary school. And they feel that the material is up to the level, and the tasks are varied, so that students can practice and develop all the skills. And according to the success of the sales, yes, the publishing house is happy, because the books are sold massively in the country. So it must be that they are good for students. They are meant for schools who have 3 to 4 hours um, per week of English. Yes, not for bilingual schools.
Okay, Miss Maria, fantastic. And how do you stay update on best practices in ESL education?
Well, all the time I was in my during my teaching career, I was a teacher trainer, as I told you, and one of the subjects I taught was didactics. So I had to study a lot about that. And now that I don't teach in service, all the same, I prepare the workshops and I have to be updated. I'm really interested in attending some workshops online. And besides that, I love reading new findings, new researches, etc. And I consider that if we want to teach, we should never stop learning. That is why I will go on reading all throughout my life.
Okay, interesting. And what role do you think technology plays in teaching English as a secondary language?
Well, it is great as an aid. Yes, it's not the way to teach English. I don't think technology can replace teachers because this feedback, which is encouraging and motivating, is given by teachers. Nevertheless, um, when we can use technology, we can reinforce and personalize teaching much better. Some students need more practice, and we cannot stop a whole classroom for helping three, four students. Moreover, some students might need special support on an area, and some other students need special support on other areas. Well, that is the moment when technology plays a very important role because we can give extra practice. We can give extra practice with immediate feedback that students can receive, and we can anticipate content. Students can watch a video, for example, or read some online book before meeting the teacher to discuss the topics, and they are prepared for seeing that. We know that students are more uh, inclined to read screens rather than books. So maybe if we give them a video, it is more motivating than giving them a book. Nevertheless, I consider that books are necessary and students need to read books as well. But technology gives us the possibility of varying the input, and also nowadays with globalization we can give them native language samples to students of real life, an ad on television, um, part of a movie, etc., that they can have access to. Some of them watching the video once is enough, but some others need to watch it three times, four times. Well, that is the moment when having access to technology is positive for education.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you understand Indian accent easily?
Sorry, I I couldn't get your question. Could you repeat?
Can you understand? Yeah, can you understand Indian accent easily?
Not any accent, but I'm, in fact, one of my areas of expertise is phonetics and phonology. Um, I love listening to different accents. I I personally live in Spanish. The difference, because Argentinian Spanish is not the same as Spain Spanish or Mexican Spanish. So I know that all accents are valuable, and the same happens with English. And I communicate with people from all over the world. I have many African friends, and uh, from all countries in Europe, and I have understood that intelligibility is much more important than accuracy as regards accents. So I try to understand, and if not, I ask for clarification. That is another strategy to communicate well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, okay. Can you tell us about yeah, yeah. Can you tell us about a memorable workshop you have led for in service English teacher?
Oh, I have two. The first one I gave, that I was really scared because it was in front of 400 people, face to face, and I had prepared it wonderfully. It was as regards teaching roles in the classroom. That was back in 2001, and when I was finishing, the organizer of the conference came and told you have to stretch because the next speaker is not coming. So you have to go on talking for half an hour at least. And I didn't know what to do. I had planned everything for my hour and a half. And so I stepped down from the stage and started interviewing all the people in the audience, and I think that was one of my best presentations ever, because I relaxed. In the end, that was everything I had to do. And I had an exchange with the audience that was really great and memorable, because many people afterwards remember that experience, and reminded me of how they had felt in that moment. And another one, which is nearer, is an, a presentation I made on emotional learning, when it was not so famous, so widely known, because I was always interested in motivation, and in considering the student and teachers as whole people, whole persons. Um, I don't think we can teach someone who doesn't want to learn, and nobody wants to learn if there is not rapport between teacher and student. So I started with that, and I remember that people in the audience started sort of disregarding the topic at the beginning, until they started asking questions and there was an exchange. And again, most teachers understood the point I wanted to make, because in teaching languages, many times the concept of behaviorism, that repetition makes perfect, was kept, and I'm not for that. Yes, I consider that we need to learn by heart many things, but it is better to make knowledge our own, part of our own personality. Yes, and that is what I wanted to transmit, and I felt I had succeeded when we started interacting, speaking about that. Those are the two uh, workshops I remember the most. I guess there is delay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, my another question for you. What has been the most rewarding aspect of your career in education?
When I see my former students, now colleagues, succeed, when I see them really enjoying and loving what they do, and that for me is the best reward.
It's fantastic. And can you discuss the importance of cultural context in the language learning?
Well, it is very important as far as there's no colonization through language teaching. Yes, that is why for me the language we teach, English, for example, here, should be international. That is, the cultural perspectives should be American, British, Australian, Chinese, South African, from any country where English is a mother tongue, or at least um, a formal language. Yes, I consider culture is part of language, or language is part of culture, because we express our ideas and describe our feelings, and we interact using the language. So we cannot separate language from culture. The point is that we should use language, and that is why it is so useful to teach a language for developing soft skills, for example, because we live the language we teach, and in that sense culture is really important.
Okay, thank you. And how do you handle feedback or criticism regarding your materials?
Well, I'm quite grown up. I'm an elderly woman. Yes, so I know who I am and what I do. So if the feedback um, corrects certain things, I consider that it is really useful, it is important, and I take it into consideration because, as I said, I love learning from my students. I love learning through working. So there is always a possibility to change things. On the other hand, when I really believe in what I'm putting forward, I defend it. And life has shown me that I was not wrong. And that was the case of in using the uh, perspective I have as regards teaching in my last series.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I don't know if you could hear everything or if I should repeat something.
It's network problem here. Okay, and can you share any tips for teachers on how to create their own teaching materials?
Well, a piece of warning. People who prepare teaching materials for to share, that is the case of myself, writing, don't
मुझे
work uh,
आपसे बहुत
individually, alone. Yes, we always have people who reread what we do and exchange ideas, criticize, and then we get to the final product. So it's not that easy to um, prepare material on our own without experience. Unless what we are preparing are grammar exercises, which might be easier. Yes, but when we want to work with authentic material, for example, we need to abridge the texts, we need to simplify structures, lexical items should um, have a level. There are some uh, places online, I don't remember the name now, where you can check the level of what you're writing. But if not, it is not advisable to prepare material so freely. It is possible to use, for example, material for parallel composition, to write simple texts for students to practice certain structures or certain patterns. Yes. Um, Questions on a text. Yes, because through questions, we can simplify the text we are working on, and if students don't have a very high level, use images, as many images as possible for students to connect meaning with the image and they can understand what they are reading. It is better to provide them with images for students to um, guess, let's say, or reason about the meaning rather than send them to use dictionaries all the time, because students in general use very little, don't use at least as much as we would like them to use the dictionaries, and then many parts of the text remain unknown. Yes, or they are demotivating because they are looking up words all the time. So it is better to simplify the text, give them an image, and if not, use questions to simplify the text and ask questions that are up to the level of the students. Maybe, for example, you could have um, an article and ask who wrote it, what it is about, and when was it written. The rest remains for students to read if they want to know more about that. And that brings about learning serendipity, yes, which is really uh, a good hook for students.
Okay, thank you so much. Your sounds a little bit rupture. And what are your goals for the future, both personally and professionally?
Um, I'm almost at the end of my career. Nevertheless, I want to go on uh, exchanging experiences because As I insist, we learn from teaching, and we teach while learning. And I would love to go on contacting people from all over the world, and that is why I accepted this interview. Um, I love to know about other cultures, other people, how uh, people see teaching and learning in different countries, and if possible, uh, inspire some teachers to enlighten learners to go on learning. That is my aim in life.
Okay, Miss Maria. And what's weather in these days in Argentina?
Sorry, what is your question?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What is your question? I
What's
couldn't.
weather in Argentina? What's weather?
The level. I, I in Argentina. What they? I couldn't understand your question. Sorry.
Okay, I want to talk to you a lot, but network don't allow me. And thank you so much. It's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you for your time and for your inspiring work you do. We look forward to sharing our contributions
Okay.
to
Okay. Please,
education.
once
Thank you so
you
much.
you share the, I would love to share. Sorry, I would love you to share the video with me once you have it ready. Okay. Okay. Bye bye.